Hello, welcome to the last video of 2025. Yeah, it's a holiday season. Happy holidays, by the way. I wanted to do just a more relaxed, sit down and talk kind of video to close out the year. And to do that, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. So of course, I am sitting down, and what I want to do is I have this tier list here that I'm going to make with all of Nintendo's games and like major events of 2025. So we're just gonna take a quick look at everything Nintendo's released this year and just kind of grade it, from a scale of S to F. And then I wanted to give an overall grade to the entire year. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. I don't want this to take too long, so let's see if I can get through these somewhat quickly. I will say I don't remember everything from the Nintendo Direct presentations this year, so it's gonna be a little from memory. I'll see what I can do, but we'll see how this goes. So let's just go ahead and get started. I do kind of want to go in order of when things happened, at least somewhat close. So the first thing we had in 2025 was the launch of Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, which I don't have, but I do remember, everything leading up to it and the opinions after it came out. And the problem with this game, so Donkey Kong Country Returns, I have the original on the Wii. I never played the 3D version on the 3DS. But the Wii game is fantastic. It's one of the best games out there, the best platformer games. I do prefer Tropical Freeze to Returns in terms of the Donkey Kong Country series. Tropical Freeze is an absolute masterpiece. I think Returns is just slightly below it. A remaster of it, it's been about 15 years since it came out, so I think a remaster of it is warranted. But Nintendo worked with a company that I haven't really worked with before for ports for this one. I forget their name, but they're not very good. So this port was actually not good overall. I know that there's some problems with it, with the graphics. Parts of it improved, others kind of got worse. And I think what was most egregious, and I don't know if it ever got fixed with a patch or anything, but at launch, multiplayer was broken because, in the original, when you jump on if you're playing co-op, if the first player would jump on an enemy, that enemy would stay there for the second player to jump on them as well, because that was kind of required for certain platforming challenges. And they kind of broke that here, so like when you defeat an enemy, the second player no longer has that enemy that they can use as a platform or a springboard to get to somewhere else. So that kind of breaks the game a little bit. That kind of sucks. So for the fact that this port feels very lazy, very poorly done overall, but the game itself is fantastic. So I think I want to give this maybe a C, just because the game is good, but it's just been put in a pretty bad situation with this remake. So I think a C is somewhat fair for this. It should have been better, but it is still Donkey Kong Country Returns, and that's a great game. So yeah, C I think is fair for it, even though it definitely should have been better. Next, on the same day as Donkey Kong Country Returns, we had the first teaser for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I did a reaction video for this. It's weird looking back at this now that we've had the Switch 2 for 6 months. But I know the excitement leading up to this was insane. I was definitely very much there for it, and there was a lot of excitement. I was absolutely thrilled to see this video. And I think it was a good teaser. Like they revealed the hardware. They didn't really say a whole lot, but they showed the entire hardware itself. They showed off Mario Kart for the first time. We didn't know it was going to be Mario Kart World yet, but it looked very good already. We could see that there were 24 racers and all that, so it was a good teaser of what was to come. It was just very exciting at the time. Of course, in hindsight, all of that is kind of lessened a little bit because we've already been through all of it and we got the console. But it was a super exciting trailer at the time. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I really liked the sound that they made when the Joy-Con would be inserted, Joy-Con 2 would be inserted onto the Switch 2. I really thought that was going to be their new sound for the splash screen, the Switch had its own with that little snapping sound. And I thought they were gonna use that sort of almost clap sound for the Switch 2 logo. But no, they just kept using the Switch sound for some reason. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because I think that sound from this Switch 2 teaser was really satisfying and they should have kept using that. But yeah, but as a teaser, I think this was good. In hindsight, at the time it was very exciting. I think we all wanted to see more, but obviously Nintendo didn't want to share more just yet. I'll give it a B. From a personal perspective, I think an A would have been fair. It would probably have been what I would want to give it. But I think there's not a whole lot here, and I think a lot of people wanted to see more at this time. So yeah, I think I'll go with a B for this teaser. Then after this, we had a Pokemon Presents in February, which is when we first saw proper gameplay of Pokemon Legends ZA. The mobile stuff always drags this down. There was really nothing interesting in the Pokemon Presents this year. In terms of the mobile stuff, nothing I really cared about at all. But there was the first trailer for Legends ZA, which seemed exciting. I think I forget exactly what they showed in this trailer, but I believe that they revealed proper gameplay here, and you could really see how different it was going to be, and that was super exciting. Really like that. That is the best part of Pokemon Legends ZA. That's why it's my favorite Pokemon game, because the combat, the new combat is great, and they revealed that here, and that was good. But overall, the Pokemon Presents shows are never really very interesting. And the only thing we really had this year was Legends ZA. Like, in terms of interesting stuff, there were no big new projects here. So yeah, I think I would give this, because it does have Legends ZA, I think I might give it a C. But I'll put it below Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. The Pokemon Presents shows are never great, but yeah, it had Pokemon Legends ZA, so I kind of have to give it some points for that. It's not amazing, but it is kind of what you'd expect for Pokemon Legends ZA, for Pokemon Presents, sorry. Then in March, so you can tell that the first half of this year was very, very slow, because we're already in March here and we haven't really covered a whole lot. But here we have Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. And this, I think, I don't play Xenoblade. I've never played Xenoblade, so it's hard to be super emotionally invested in this franchise. But I do hear what people say. I read up on these things because I'm just a fan of Nintendo. I like to stay on top of this stuff. And I read these opinions, and Xenoblade Chronicles X is a very good remaster, or whatever you could call it. Coming from the Wii U version to this, I remember watching a comparison trailer, and the graphics are significantly improved in a few ways in the Switch version of Xenoblade Chronicles X. So it looks a lot better. The fact that the entire game is on the cartridge and it works well, because I believe on the Wii U, if you wanted the best performance and you had the physical version, you then would have to download some additional data to improve performance. So that improved a little bit here. They added new content, and the thing is, whenever the developers, Monolith Soft, do new content for one of their games, it's very substantial, and that seems to be the case here as well. Like, the new content in Xenoblade Chronicles X is a pretty good chunk of new content. That's good. It's good content. So I think as a remaster, at the very least, I need to put this in A, because it is a very good re-release, and I also like what this means for the franchise, because now with this release, the entire Xenoblade franchise is on the Switch. Like we got the ports of the first one, we got ports of this, and now we have you have two original entries with Chronicles 2 and Chronicles 3. So the entire Xenoblade series being on one console is amazing. So I want to give this an A+, like this is a very high A. I don't want to put it in S because I haven't played it and I don't want to like oversell it in that sense, but I think everything that Xenoblade Chronicles means for the series, everything it brings, to the original game, this was a very good release. So I think an A is very fair for this one. So after that, I think the next thing we have is the Nintendo Direct for March 27th, 2025, and this one was also alright. So at the time, everything, I think I'm very swept up in the moment sometimes when things happen. This wasn't the most exciting Direct either way, but there are things here that I like a lot. So I like the fact that they brought back Rhythm Heaven Groove, Rhythm Heaven in general, and Tamagotchi Life. I think those two announcements are very big for this. Like, they're not my kinds of games, but I follow, Nintendo fans on YouTube and things like that, and I see how people talk about these games and franchises and how much they would love to see that back. So to have those two franchises return here, that was a pretty big deal, if you ask me. I think that was really cool. I think the introduction of virtual game cards, this has been a little controversial, the virtual game cards. I think that's the virtual game cards, for myself, I kind of prefer the new system. The fact that, you can make a game available on a specific system without needing an internet connection whenever you want to play. You just have to prepare in advance. That seems preferable to me, but also you do have the option to just not do it that way, and you can still disable that and keep using the old method if you prefer that. But I do like what they did with virtual game cards. And there was some other cool stuff here. The fact that we got like former PlayStation exclusives like Patapon coming to Switch was cool. I believe, Everybody's Golf coming to Switch. That's another previously PlayStation exclusive series coming to Switch, even though the release itself turned out to not be great. That was cool to see. There were cool things here. Oh, and Marvel Cosmic Invasion, I almost forgot about that. I don't know if that was announced here or if this was just a new trailer. I don't know for sure. But there was good stuff here. They announced Rider Remastered, which I know some people care about. There was a new trailer for Metroid Prime 4, which the trailer itself wasn't amazing, but I think at this time, just seeing anything new, Metroid Prime 4 was very exciting. And they launched Nintendo Today on this day as well, the Nintendo Today app for smartphones. I think that was a cool idea. I don't really use Nintendo Today very much until I get notifications from it, but that is one of my favorite things about it. Like, I remember getting a notification for the Splatoon Raiders trailer, and that's like what really hit me. Is like, oh, they're actually just using this to announce whole new things. That was really cool. So I think there was some cool stuff in this Direct. There's nothing jaw-dropping here. There's a lot of old stuff coming over, a lot of things you already knew about. So it's a fine Direct. I think in the context of Direct as a whole, it's not amazing, but I did enjoy it, and I would say it's hard. I need to put this in like a low B maybe. I was thinking C, but I don't think I can put a Direct on the same level as a Pokemon Presents, because Pokemon Presents showcases are so much less interesting overall. You're really just waiting for that end bit, right? So yeah, I think I'll do a low B, like a B- for this Direct. It's not amazing, but there was some cool stuff in here. I liked it. And then of course we have the big one, the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, which I like this one a lot. Obviously, going into the Switch 2 era, it was one of the most exciting periods of my life in terms of like my hobbies. And this Direct, I think, delivered pretty much everything I could have asked for at this point. Like the fact that they really showcased everything about the system, like they showed off all the specs. It was a little more technical than usual for Nintendo, but they revealed a lot of cool stuff. Like the hardware of the Switch 2 was much better than I think a lot of us were expecting. The fact that it has 120 Hz display with VRR, HDR support, the new Joy-Con, being talked about with the mouse and everything. Like, there's so much cool stuff here. And then they had a ton of games. Like, I know some people complain that, oh, so many of these are already available, but like, that's just what's going to happen with the new console. Is like bringing games over from other platforms that already have them that couldn't previously run on the Switch. Like, I think that's equally as exciting as a brand new game in many cases. So, to get announcements of things like Hitman World of Assassination, the Yakuza games, those, it would be nice to have more of them, but you gotta start somewhere. Split Fiction, confirmation that FIFA and Madden or EA Sports FC, whatever, were coming. Confirmation that 007 First Light was coming. Like, that game is coming next year, and they announced it at this Direct. That was cool to see. And then of course the actual new games. You got Donkey Kong Bonanza, looked amazing. Well, I know the first showing people were a little iffy on it, but I think the game looked great from the start. Mario Kart World looked great. We got some Switch 2 editions, which looked really nice, with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom running at 60 frames per second. The new content for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Things like that. And then even a third-party exclusive with the Duskblades, that was amazing. Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VII Remake. There was so much stuff that was announced for the Switch 2 in this presentation. I think they really, they kicked it out of the park with this introduction. I think the only thing that I really didn't like in this one was the fact that they didn't share a price here. And you could tell why, because then when you realize what the price was, I don't think Nintendo felt very proud of that price. But I don't want to go too deep into the price because I do have a pricing, miscellaneous pricing category here that I will rank later. But I think it would have been nice to see it in here. But yeah, I think this was a very, very good Direct. I'm not going to give it S rank, because I do think the pacing in some parts could have been a little bit better, but I think it definitely deserves an A rank. So I'm gonna put this in A. Just from personal perspective, I'm gonna put it ahead of Xenoblade Chronicles X. But yeah, this is a really, really good presentation. After this, we had the Mario Kart World Direct, and this is probably Nintendo's worst showing so far. During the Switch 2 Direct and then the Treehouse event that happened after that, they kept talking up this freaking Direct, saying, "Oh, you're gonna learn more here. You're gonna have more information about Mario Kart World on the open world and whatever." And then the only thing, this Mario Kart World Direct really just felt like an extended trailer and not really much more than that. So that kind of sucked. I didn't really like that. And the only thing that they really revealed here was a quick look at some of the missions you can do in the open world. And that was exciting, but the missions weren't anything crazy anyway. So yeah, this didn't do anything to sell me on Mario Kart World. I mean, seeing the missions was okay, but everything else about this presentation was pretty lame. So I don't know if F tier is deserved, but at the very least, I think D is this deserves at least a D. It's a low D. It's not great. I'm considering if I need to put in an F. But yeah, it wasn't a great showing. I did not like this very much. So Yeah, moving on. After Mario Kart World Direct, I don't think anything major happened for a good while here until the launch of the Switch 2 itself. So that was a bit of a quiet period here. Again, as I mentioned, it was a very quiet first half of the year for Nintendo. So on June 5th, we got Switch 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, not Donkey Kong Bonanza, sorry, Mario Kart World, and Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. And let's just go through all of those. So Switch 2, I think I have to get, so the Switch 2 itself, again, I have a separate thing for prices. So for the Switch 2 itself, I think I'm gonna put that in S tier. And I know it's probably gonna be controversial. I am a Nintendo fan after all. But the Switch 2 really is everything I wanted, and then some, like in some ways, like the fact that, and like I said during the Direct, when they revealed that it had a 1080p screen with HDR support, 120Hz refresh rate with variable refresh rate, that was all just amazing. And then seeing the Joy-Con having mouse sensors on both of them, the new magnetic attach system looked super cool. The design overall looked very refined. Like game chat, like I think the idea of game chat is still awesome. Like I know a lot of people complain that they don't use it. I don't use it as much as I would like to, but I think the idea of game chat is amazing. It really, like, it's like a very idealistic version of, I think, a social hangout with gaming, which is hard to achieve as an adult. Like, it's hard to have the time and the friends to really be comfortable with to do that kind of interaction. But I think the concept itself is fantastic, and I really want to use it more because I think the feature is great. I just haven't had the opportunity to use it more. But I love game chat. The hardware is great. The power of the Switch 2, everything that it can run is amazing. The fact that you got Cyberpunk on this, got games like Elden Ring coming, got Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like, we have some really impressive games running on this handheld that is thinner and lighter than pretty much all the competition still. Like the Steam Deck, Asus ROG Ally, all that stuff. All of those are less powerful and thicker and heavier than the Switch 2. So I think there's so much to love about this console. I know that, there's some things people will criticize. It's too thin, the fact that there's no grip for the when you grab a Joy-Con. I kind of disagree with that. I think the Joy-Con 2 are actually pretty comfortable. I was okay with the Switch 1 Joy-Con, but the Switch 2 Joy-Con being bigger really make it a lot more comfortable. The analog sticks being as smooth as they are and having a slightly increased range makes them much nicer to use. I actually don't feel the need to play with the Pro Controller as much or at all, really. So I love the hardware of the Switch 2. I don't think I have really any complaints myself. The only thing that I would point out that was talked about a lot was some people noticed that the display has low response times. I think it's only some units. It depends on the manufacturer of those panels. And I feel like I haven't been affected by that. But otherwise, I think this really was the perfect successor to the Switch. And I like it very much. So I think, yeah, S rank for it is deserved in my opinion. Then we have, on the same day, Mario Kart World, which I don't know where I put it. Oh, there it is. We got Mario Kart World here. And Mario Kart World, maybe my favorite Mario Kart. I don't know if it's the best, because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, after the DLC, is insanely complete. You got so many tracks, so many great tracks. You got a lot of characters. There is so much in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe after the DLC. Plus, it has a better battle mode with a lot of stages and a lot of modes. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is fantastic. That might be the best one. But Mario Kart World, I think, is still a breath of fresh air. I think the new visual style that they're going for with this game everything is a little more rounded. Things just seem a bit more playful in a way. There's more expression to everything in this game. I really like the personality of Mario Kart World. There's so many playable characters. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was okay. Like after the DLC, it improved a lot. But Mario Kart World has so many playable characters. Like the silliest ones. Like you got freaking cows, dolphins, got a Goomba. There's so many silly characters in Mario Kart World. And then you got outfits for them. It's so much. And some of the tracks in Mario Kart World are fantastic. Like I love a lot of them. And the fact that they now have to be integrated into this open world and the way they went about doing that, like the fact that they managed to do that, I think is really impressive. So, there are flaws with Mario Kart World. I think the open world concept, going into free roam, I've mentioned this before, but the missions aren't super easy to find. You kind of just have to keep looking out for them. You can't see them on the map. You can't really see how many you're missing. I think you can now with an update, but like, it would be nice to at least have like a breakdown per region or something. So the free roam mode could be better. There's a flaw there. Battle mode could have more options. I have never really cared about battle mode, so it's one of those things where I'm like, I get it, but I also don't really care that much. But overall, I think Mario Kart World, within the context of Mario Kart and what it wants to achieve, I think Mario Kart World deserves an A rank. Again, I'll put it above Xenoblade just out of personal preference, but yeah, I think Mario Kart World is an A rank game. I like it very much. It's very good, and it's gonna get weird later, but I have my reasons for this. But yeah, I think Mario Kart World was a fantastic launch title. Makes total sense to go alongside the Switch 2. And yeah, I like it very much, so A rank. And finally, we have Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which I infamously did a video on. I really thought I had like a screenshot. Oh, there it is. I infamously did a video on Switch 2 Welcome Tour defending it, and I stand by it. I think Switch 2 Welcome Tour is a nice little tech demo that, yeah, probably should have been free, but having paid the $10, I wouldn't say I wasted that money. I think it was a really fun showcase of everything that the Switch 2 can do, all the features and everything, and it's really fun to learn about like the design process, like the mindset behind certain decisions. I think it's really cool. I really enjoy this. I'm not gonna say this is like a great game, but I don't hate it, and I don't think it's an overall negative. I think the experience itself is totally fine, and for $10, there's worse things you can spend $10 on. So I'm not gonna be insane here and say it's great, but I'm not gonna give it a negative grade. I'm gonna put it in C. I'll say above Pokemon Presents here. Yeah, Switch 2 Welcome Tour is actually okay, and if you have $10 to burn, I think you could do a lot worse than this. So yeah. But since we're talking the launch of the Switch 2, I think now is a good time to talk about pricing, because that's been a big thing with Nintendo this year. Like, people have been complaining about pricing a lot in 2025. Some things I think aren't really, in Nintendo's control. Of course, a lot of market conditions that are making things more difficult. But obviously there are some problems here. I will say the Switch 2 itself, and I've said this before, but the Switch 2 itself, the price of the Switch 2, I think is totally fine. If it was that alone, I would put this in maybe B or A, because I think for what it offers, and especially when it launched, the Switch 2's price is absolutely reasonable. Like, you can't get a more powerful handheld at that price. You just can't. Like, the only competitor the Switch 2 had in terms of handhelds in that sort of price range was the original Steam Deck. But even then, at this time, it was the base Steam Deck. It had the same amount of storage, but it didn't have a high refresh rate. It was only 60 Hz. Didn't have very low refresh rate. Didn't have HDR, and it was just an older system overall. Like, It didn't have detachable controllers, didn't have like a proper mouse. You got touchpads, but it's not really the same thing. And the Steam Deck is much bigger and heavier. So like the Switch 2, for everything it offers, at the price that it is, I think is a totally reasonable price. The problem is the rest of the thing, of everything around it. I think the game is going up to $70. Of course, I don't like it, but it is the standard, so it's one of those things like, okay. But Mario Kart World being $80, that was insane. That was really Nintendo showing like, yeah, we can do this. Like, you're gonna buy it anyway. And I know a lot of people did, but that's still kind of scummy in a way. Like, I don't think that's a good thing to do. So that sucks a little bit. But even Nintendo acknowledged it, because I'm pretty sure, that's why the bundle of the Switch 2 with Mario Kart World exists, because then the game is only $50, and at that price, yeah, it's completely worth it. So, as bad as it is that $80 is an option in the first place, I don't think you didn't have to buy it for $80. Like, Nintendo knew that was a tough sell, and they gave you the option to get the bundle, so the game would only be $50. So I think that takes a little bit of the edge off of that. It's not as bad, but it still sucks. And then I think there was other problems with Nintendo's approach to pricing. Switch 2 editions, adding $10 or $20 depending on the upgrade, that's fine. But I think when you put out Zelda Breath of the Wild in 2025, 8 years after it originally came out, and initially you asked for $60, and now you're asking for $70, and you still don't include the $20 DLC that also came out 8 years ago. And like, why do you have to be so stingy with that? I think at the very least, the Switch 2 edition should have included the DLC from 2017. I think that would have been reasonable. I know it may have burned some people who bought it at full price, but like, that's always going to happen. And it's really a one-time thing, so I don't think it's gonna set a standard for like, oh, you shouldn't buy Nintendo things at launch because they're gonna get cheaper. Like, it would have been a very sort of one-off thing. I think they could have done that for people, and that was kind of weird. There's other things with prices though. Like, obviously the hardware just got more expensive across the board. The controllers are more expensive and all of that. I think what also really sucks is the end of the game vouchers program that they announced, I believe, earlier in the year. The fact that you could buy the game vouchers, which was like $100, I believe, and you'd be able to buy 2 games digitally, which would usually save you $20, $30 depending on the games you chose. You can't do that anymore, or if you still have the vouchers, I believe you can still use them for now, but they're expiring, and I think that sucks. The fact that they discontinued My Nintendo Gold points, so you can't get discounts on like eShop purchases anymore, that also sucks. So there's just a lot of things Nintendo's done this year that are not very consumer friendly in terms of prices. And so overall, I think prices, I'm gonna have to put it in D. It's brought up a little bit because, like I said, I think the Switch 2 pricing itself is very, very solid for what's being offered here. And in terms of the general game pricing, it's kind of where you'd expect it to be. So it's okay. But everything else, there's been a lot of bad decisions, or at least frustrating decisions. So yeah, I think D for this is probably fair. Yeah, moving on. After the Switch 2's launch, we had a couple of quiet weeks, though we did get the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct, which, going into it, we were a little concerned because the Mario Kart World Direct had been so bad. But thankfully, things turned around a lot for, like with Donkey Kong Bonanza. It was very different because the game, for a lot of people, the game hadn't really proven itself before this Direct. And then after this Direct, people were super excited about this game. I don't know if it was the same day or not, but then we also got like the Ask the Developer interview. I think that may have been on the launch day for the game itself. Where they shared a lot of the background process behind it, and that was really cool as well. But yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct really sold a lot of people on this game. I remember seeing the reactions online. People were way more excited for this game after this Direct, showcasing, everything that they showed here really gave us a much better idea of what the game was actually about, and that was great. That was really good, and yeah, I think I would say for a single game Direct, this was great. I don't know if I think A feels a little too high for a single game Direct, so I'm gonna put it in B. I'm gonna put it in B here as a high B, but it was a good showing and it really sold people on this game, which is good because it's a fantastic game. So that brings me to Donkey Kong Bonanza, which launched about a month after this. We're still going kind of slow here. There wasn't a ton happening at this point. It was just a couple games. But Donkey Kong Bonanza, I'm not gonna dilly-dally here. This is going in S tier. This is one of the best games ever. Like, it's just an absolutely fantastic game. I wanted to swap places. There you go. Donkey Kong Bonanza is one of the most fun games out there. Just in general, it's so much fun to play Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I already glazed this game in last week's video and in the review, so I don't want to spend too long on that. But smashing things is so much fun. There's that sense of tactility, and the feedback that you get from punching things is fantastic. The story, actually, it's not like it's an in-depth story, but like the characters are endearing. The relationship between Pauline and Donkey Kong is very, very interesting. Like, it's just a fantastic game. Like, everything about this game, I don't think I have any major flaws that I can really point out with this game. Like, I love it so much. Yeah, it's such a great game. S tier is like guaranteed for this. So yeah, absolutely phenomenal game. It's the reason to buy a Switch 2. Like, if the Switch 2 alone doesn't sell you, then this is the one. And even though this came out later, I do want to just address the Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC now, because why not? This was okay. So I did buy Donkey Kong Bonanza's DLC, but at $20, I don't think I really got my money's worth out of that. But it's not because the DLC content is bad necessarily. I think bringing back DK Island is cool. It's a really cool little hub. And the mode, the big new mode here, Hammer Rush, is interesting. I think the problem with it is that, like, I don't really play roguelike games very much, and that's what this is essentially. I think maybe with a different context I would have liked it more. I just don't think Donkey Kong Bonanza is the game where I would expect a roguelike mode to be, and it's not really, the mechanics don't feel like they're the best fit for this, in my opinion. So I don't really love this DLC myself. I know some people actually liked it a bunch, but it's not really for me. And I think I have to give this maybe a low B, because it's not a lack of quality. That's the problem here for me. It's just Donkey Kong Bonanza didn't need DLC. Like, you absolutely don't need to buy this unless you just want a roguelike experience. Like, the DLC for Donkey Kong Bonanza isn't adding anything to Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like, that is a fully complete experience that doesn't need this whatsoever. Like, not at all. This is a totally new experience, and if you do like roguelikes, it may be worth it. It's not really for me, so I'm gonna keep it in low B there. We'll see. Maybe I'll move it around a little bit, but I think for now it's a low B for me. After this, I believe we had the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase for July 31st, and I don't remember this one very well, so I need to take a quick look here at what was shown for this showcase. And I'm seeing Monster Hunter Stories 3 That's a big one. I think that's a pretty big announcement actually for a partner showcase. That's very good to see. Oh, The Adventures of Elliot. Oh, I almost forgot this was here. I played the demo for this. That is super fun. I'm really looking forward to this game. Also, I like Octopath Traveler 0, which was not really for me, but it's also cool to see here. And then you have a lot of stuff that isn't as interesting, though we do have the Pac-Man World 2 repack was here. That's kind of cool to see as well. Got Chronos: The New Dawn. That is also very cool. More Yakuza games. Star Wars Outlaws was here. I don't know if it was announced before. So like, there's still a lot of good stuff here in this partner showcase. I remember being pretty psyched about this one. There's a lot of like good third-party games here. I'm really excited about the Adventures of Elliot. I know some people will probably be very into Monster Hunter Stories 3. It looks beautiful. I think seeing the progression of Monster Hunter Stories from starting on the 3DS to the sequel on the Switch, and now there's one on the Switch too. How it progressed visually, crazy stuff. But anyway, like, I think this showcase was very good. I don't know. Okay, so I want to put this ahead of the Nintendo Direct from March, but I don't want to put it. I don't know if I want it at the same level as the Switch 2 Direct from April. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in a B, and I think I might move the March Direct to a C here. So that's how I'm gonna keep that for now to make this work for me. Yeah, that's probably where I'm gonna stay with that. And then we have, I'm kind of glossing over the Switch 2 editions. I don't know if that's really worth ranking that much. So many of them are so minor. We had the Super Mario Party Jamboree here. That was kind of lame. So we can pretend that's an F. I forgot to put it here, but that's not very good. Then we have an Indie World Showcase. So on August 7th. Indie World Showcases are never really my bread and butter. I don't play a lot of indie games. Not that I have anything against them, obviously. But I just don't play a lot of them. And not a ton of things here interest me, though I do recognize some of them. I think Bong Pit or Bong X Pit, I don't know. I think it's just called Bong Pit. That one was probably the most fun looking game in this Direct and looked really, really good. I believe it's out now. So Bong Pit is a really good announcement. Getting more information on Mina the Hollower was really cool because that game, I played the demo for it, looks pretty fun as well. So that's good stuff. And then we got a UFO 50, which I think a lot of people were hoping would come to the Switch. So that was good stuff as well. Everything else here, like DLC for Little Kitty Big City, don't really care for it. So many games I don't even remember. There's this game called Neverway, which I believe is from like a Brazilian team. And I remember that looking kind of interesting. I don't really remember specifically what it was about, but it looked kind of cool. So that's another good one. But yeah, just from a personal perspective, indie worlds aren't really, my cup of tea. So I can't rank it too high, personally. But I also don't want to like undersell it just because I'm not an indie person. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of B for now. So yeah, I think that's probably fair for what it is. Yeah, let's go with that. After that, we have in August Dragon Drive, which, oh man, okay. It's a showcase for the Joy-Con 2. It's a showcase for mouse mode. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but I also really don't care. Like, I played the demo, I could not get into it. I don't know of anyone talking about this game just a few months later. Like, I saw some people defend it when it came out, and I don't think anyone cares anymore. and that's kind of the problem with that game. I don't think there's any staying power to it. There's nothing there that really makes people want to come back. Like, it's fun enough to play, but like at the end of the day, there's so much better stuff. So I'm gonna. I'm thinking D. I almost want to say F. I don't know if I can say that it's like atrocious. It's just kind of nothing to me, you know? So I'm gonna put it in D, the bottom of D. But I don't know. Maybe an F is warranted, but we'll see about that as we keep going here. The other thing we had in August was another Switch 2 edition for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I could have included that here. I did not think to do that. That I would put that maybe in a B as well, just for what it's worth. But yeah, I think we're gonna move on to September. And in September, we already added Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC. I already did that, but we did have a new direct. Oh, sorry. I was going a little too quickly here. We had a Kirby Air Riders Direct in August, and we actually had two of these. I'm not gonna rank them separately. It's a single game Direct, and I think the only reason we got two is because it's Sakurai, and Sakurai is kind of crazy. But I do want to give it credit because this is a single game. He talked about it for like 2 hours across these two presentations. And it never felt boring, like it was always showing new things. It was always giving you reasons to care about this game. Across those 2 hours, there's so much stuff in this game that they packed in here, and it really convinced me to get it. So like these presentations combined, I think, despite the length, they were really, really good for what they were. So what I'm thinking I might put this in B because it is still a single game Direct, and 2 hours is a long time. So I'll put it in B, just balancing out, you know, both Kirby Air Riders Direct. Yeah, B will be where that lands. Yeah, I think that's fair. So now we move on to September. And we're gonna do the, oh shoot, I'm just noticing another mistake. I also skipped the Pokemon Presents in July, which I think was even worse at this point because they kept showing Legends EA, but there was never anything new enough here. The mobile stuff was as worthless as ever. I believe this one showed Pokemon Friends, which is also on this list. I might actually have to look this up. Just give me a moment here. Yeah, so looking at this, like, there's a bunch of mobile stuff. There's a bunch of like merchandise and like non-game stuff. You got Pokemon Concierge Season 2. You got Pokemon Tales and Misadventures of Sirfetch'd and Pichu. So a new animated series that's coming in 2 years, which I don't know why that needed to be announced so early anyway, but sure. And then like nothing else here, like you got more Pokemon Legends EAs, whatever. And Pokemon Friends also kind of like, it was a fine reveal. The game itself is whatever. So I'm gonna put this in D. I do not care for this Pokemon Presents. I would almost say F, honestly, for this one. I do think that there's a lot of people who like Pokemon Concierge a lot, so maybe F is a little harsh, but yeah, not very interesting. And I believe Pokemon Friends came out the same day, so I might as well just get through with that as well. And that's also going to go in D, because Pokemon Friends is not interesting. Like it's super basic puzzles, at least in the beginning. Like I tried it a little bit. There's nothing really interesting there. And I think the pricing structure for this, it's not predatory, at least in like some other mobile games are. Like you buy the levels and once you buy them you just have them. It's not like a recurring thing that you need to do. But like there's just, why would you pay for this? Like the full package is $40, and that just doesn't feel like there's enough here to warrant, I don't know, even half of that. Like it doesn't seem that interesting. So yeah, I don't think a D. Is any better than, definitely no better than a D. I'm still on the fence about giving it an F. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna put it in F. I'm gonna put it in F because I don't think this is interesting. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I don't think there's any value to this, really. So no, I think F for Pokemon Friends is probably fair. Yeah, nothing else to say about that one. Okay, now finally we can actually do the September Direct, which I liked very much. I like this Direct very much. So this is basically two Directs in one. It was a Mario Direct and like a Mario Anniversary Direct, like what we had in 2020, and then just a normal Direct afterwards. And I thought it was awesome. So like the Mario section had a bunch of things. We got Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 re-released, which, you know, those were expensive, but it's cool to have those games back, and they actually have some upgrades this time around in terms of visuals. Mario Tennis Fever getting announced was really cool. Super Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 Edition, that also looks really nice. And Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, obviously the first trailer for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Like, so much stuff in this Mario section already. Like, that was a really good showing for the Mario section. I really enjoyed that by itself. And then you get onto the rest of it, and there's still a lot of cool stuff in here. Like, we got Virtual Boy coming to NSO, which, yes, like on a logical level, Virtual Boy is worthless, but the fact that they're still bothering to bring it back and even making like the stupid head mount like accessory that looks like a Virtual Boy, and you put your Switch in there and you can play that, like, that's so dumb, but like, I love it. So there was a really cool announcement there. Got Pokemon Pokopia, which I don't understand why this wasn't in the presents in July. Like, what is the point of that presentation anyway? And like, I don't really care for the type of game Pokemon Pokopia is, but it is cool that it exists, and that type of game, I know a lot of people do enjoy it. So I'm very curious to see. Bringing things down a little bit, we had new showings of Legends EA, which still had nothing very interesting, and then the announcement of the Mega Dimension DLC, which I think is really stupid. Yeah, that was not very interesting at all. But then we're back. We got Resident Evil Requiem coming to Switch on launch day, like alongside the other platforms, and they're launching Resident Evil 7 and 8. Fully local versions of these games, not cloud versions, also on the same day. Like, that's super cool. Then obviously Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, awesome announcement. Then there's just a whole lot of other stuff. Like, if you go into the headlines, there's a lot of other things. PopUcom, I know some people look interested in that, and yeah, it looks kind of fun. I've heard about Dinkum. I don't know if it's really an exciting launch or not. Hades 2 was there. More information on Hyrule Warriors of Imprisonment. The announcement of Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, that was also kind of unexpected and cool. Fatal Frame 2 remake, that's kind of cool as well. Power Wash Simulator 2. Sequel to Suika game, which I've never played, but I know people love it. Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC. Dynasty Warriors Origins. More Monster Hunter Stories 3, interestingly enough. Like, there was a lot in this presentation, and I think it was great. I think this is a really good Direct. People are still waiting for something that's like a Zelda announcement or a 3D Mario announcement, like a brand new one. I don't think that's necessary. That's necessary to get like an S rating, and that's what this gets from me. I think the September Direct deserves an S rating. Like, looking at everything that was mentioned here, this looks really good. So I think an S is probably deserved for this one. It was a really good presentation. At this point, I don't know when this game came out, so I'm just gonna rate this right now. Fire Emblem Shadows, we have it here at the bottom. I'm just gonna put it in F. I have not played this game. I barely know anything about this game. I know it's a social deduction game, so it's kind of like Among Us, but I don't think it's multiplayer. It's like social deduction with just, like, characters in the game. And everything I've heard about this game is bad. Like, I haven't heard a single positive thing about this game. So just going off of the vibes from everyone else, I'm gonna give this an F rating. Yeah, it's not not good. I don't know why Nintendo did this. It's one of the most inconsequential things they've done on mobile and in general. So like, yeah, no, not good. So then we have Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. And this is interesting. So I think my biggest problem with this package is the fact that it's $70 on the Switch 1. Like, I don't understand why that was necessary. We already do have a price category to itself here, so I don't know how much I can penalize this game for that pricing structure. The fact that the games are like $40 separately, which is like how much they were new almost 20 years ago. That's not great, but they're fantastic games and they look better than ever. So like, I can't say they're terrible. I think they're too expensive. But again, we already have a pricing section here. So I don't want to also be too harsh on it for that, but I also feel like I can't completely discount it. So I'm gonna say this is a B. I'm gonna put it in a B tier here, maybe below Donkey Kong Bonanza's DLC. So I think that's probably fair for what it is. Like, it's kind of hard to say for sure, but I think a B for this is probably fair enough. And this is like the beginning of a barrage of games here. So then we have Pokemon Legends EA, which I've already talked about a bunch as well. I don't want to, dawdle on it too much. I think this is also going to be a B, like lower B here, like a B minus. It is my favorite Pokemon game of all time, and it's interesting when you say that, because like, I would, if I was ranking 2021, for example, and I had to, or 2022, sorry, and I had to rank Pokemon Legends Arceus, I would put that in A or S, even though I'm now saying that Legends EA is my favorite. I think the problem with Legends EA is that, yes, it is my favorite to play, but there's such a clear lack of either ambition or ability to deliver on that ambition. Like, something is missing with Legends EA. Like, they have this really cool battle concept. They improved a lot of the basics, and like the movement is a lot better and more fluid than it was in previous games. But it still feels like they're not getting it. Like, there's something missing here that they just won't do. And it sucks because, again, like I've mentioned before, they had a 3-year gap from the previous Pokemon game, the previous main series game. This is the biggest gap they've ever had to develop this game. They announced it almost 2 years in advance, and it still feels so unfinished. And I think that's what makes it like rank lower, because it feels like this is a game that should have given us hope for the future of Pokemon, and it just doesn't do that. Like, it's a good game, I like playing it, but it doesn't give me hope like Legends Arceus did, And that's why I think a B is most suitable for this game. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna stand with that. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, I think that deserves an A. Again, I've already praised this game a lot, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it is a fantastic game. I think playing at 60 frames per second is really, really nice. It's a very smooth game. They've added new mechanics and everything that make the game feel a lot more fun than previous, like Age of Calamity. I think there's a little more variety here. That's usually a problem with Hyrule Warriors games, because it's just naturally a repetitive sort of thing. So I think that the things they added here are very nice to have. And I think most importantly, I think the thing that really sells me on it is how much they add to the story of Tears of the Kingdom. They made it canonical to Tears of the Kingdom. Like, this isn't some alternate reality thing. But they still managed to add enough elements and to provide context for things in Tears of the Kingdom in a way that really helps you get invested in this plot, even though you kind of know where it's going in the end. So yeah, I think this is a fantastic game. Like, it's the Warriors formula won't be for everyone, But if you can get past that, then this is a really, really great experience. And then we have Kirby Air Riders, which is also really, really good. So this one, this is where it gets weird because this game didn't get on my top 5 games of the year. But I think for what it is, I think I have to take it as like that previous video was my personal opinions and feelings about the game. But when I look at it here, I have to take it for what it is and what it means, just like in the broader context of Nintendo and everything. And I think looking at it as this passion project from Sakurai, everything that is in this game, there's so much content in here, and it took that original game from the GameCube and it did so much with that concept. There's so much here, and it's really fun to play. It's visually beautiful. There's a good number of tracks. I think some people would have liked to see more. I can totally understand that. But you know, there's all the modes you'd expect. The new seated trial venue is really cool. All the mini games, it's all really cool stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff here. So many unlockables, so many customization options. Like there's a ton here. I think the only reason, you know, the only reason this game was not in my top 5 is because I don't think I care that much for this type of game. But I can't not rank this in A because it's such a great project. Like there is so much here. And I would even put it above Mario Kart World in terms of executing on the idea, on the premise that it has. Like, I think it is better than Mario Kart World in that sense. I just happen to like Mario Kart World more as a concept, but I think Kirby Air Riders delivers its vision so well, and it deserves the A rating here. I think it's really, really good. And then conversely, move on to the last game of the year. I got Metroid Prime 4 Beyond here, and this is complicated because I love the gameplay of Metroid, right? And I love Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. As a result, I think it does do enough to like make it better than previous games in some ways. I think the mouse controls really help this game feel a little more frantic and fast-paced, but also you feel like you're more in control. So I like that a lot. It's visually stunning, of course. Like it's a very beautiful game, especially on the Switch too. Like it's great. There's some new stuff. I think the psychic shot thing is cool. The lore behind the planet you're on is nice. It's cool to like find that out and learn about what happened on that planet. That's kind of nice. But it just falls short in so many ways. I think the characters around Samus, you know, they're not bad characters. I just think they really failed to make Samus connect with them in a meaningful way. The story doesn't feel like it really delivers what you're expecting. The main villain of the story barely appears, which is also kind of strange. Like they set it up as him being like the big bad guy, and then you barely see him in the entire game. So like, I feel like it falls a little short of what I would have liked to see in a Metroid Prime game. Even though I love this game, I like this game personally, like it more than Kirby Air Riders. It was above that on my ranking last week. But in terms of what you would expect from Metroid Prime and what it delivers, I think it falls a little short. So I have to put it in B, maybe around here. So yeah, it is below Kirby Air Riders and Mario Kart World, even though on my personal ranking list I put it above. But it's that context. I think the context really changes things here. And then finally, for Nintendo Switch Online, I wanted to rank just the Switch Online service as a whole. I know you already talked about the game vouchers, so I'm not gonna include that here. But I just want to talk about the games that were added to Switch Online, I guess. Not too in depth, I just want to I'm looking at the list here of everything that was added this year. And it is interesting to look back because I think people complain so often about Nintendo not doing enough with Switch Online. And there's so many, like every month here I had something. And and it's a lot of months had like multiple releases, so that's cool. And looking here, I'm seeing things like Ridge Racer 64, which is nice. Wario Land 4, really good game. Donkey Kong on the Game Boy, fantastic game. Mario Speedcross, also really cool. A lot of like SNES games that I don't really know a whole lot about, so I can't really say. In April, we got a bunch of like, Sega Genesis games that I think this is a platform that hadn't had any updates in a while. Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones on the GBA, Killer Instinct Gold on the Nintendo 64, that's kind of cool. Survival Kids, Gradius Stellar Assault, Kirby Star Stacker, like the Game Boy version? Okay, yeah, that's cool. And then, of course, the Switch 2's launch, we got all the GameCube stuff, Zelda Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX. Then we had Super Mario Strikers for the GameCube about a month later, Mario Paint on the SNES servers with mouse support, makes a ton of sense for the Switch 2, that's kind of cool. Chibi Robo being brought back in August, that was also very cool, only on the Switch 2. In September we got Mr. Drummer 2 on the Game Boy, and then Klonoa, Empire of Dreams, which I've never played that one. Mario and Wario on the SNES, that's a cool release. Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube on October 30th, great timing. November 26th we got Battletoads, Ninja Gaiden, I think. Bionic Commando, Kid Icarus 2, that's also a cool addition. Wario World on December 11th, and then December 17th we got Rayman 2 and Sonic Trouble. So like, there's a good, like, Nintendo Switch Online got a lot of cool additions this year. And Nintendo Music is also part of Switch Online, and that's been getting a lot of soundtracks. I think they made a lot better use of Switch Online than Nintendo Music this year. The fact that they had the music for Kirby Air Riders before release was awesome, and I think they really need to do that more. The tracks for Donkey Kong Bonanza being added there, I was a really big fan of that. So yeah, a lot of good stuff with Switch Online. I think it was a good year for Switch Online. There were no price increases. People were suspecting Switch Online would also increase prices as everything else has been having. That wasn't the case. So the fact that we got everything we've been getting and the price of the service itself is still the same, I will say that probably warrants an A. And that kind of concludes our ranking here. So we have everything that I wanted to add here, and obviously there's like a lot of there's a bit of preference obviously for the positive. I am a Nintendo fan, I think that's worth remembering. There's a lot of good stuff here, and you know, I think when in terms of rating the year overall, I think it's hard to say like even looking at this is meant to help me, but then I look at this and I think like you have two F's here, but like I feel like Pokemon Friends and Fire Emblem Shadows are much less consequential as F's, like much less detrimental to the overall rating because they're so inconsequential, than like having Metroid Prime 4 Beyond be a B. I think that hurts Nintendo's overall rating more than having those two things in F because they're so inconsequential. So overall, I think, you know, taking everything together here and looking at the things that are in each tier, I would probably say Nintendo's overall 2025 was maybe an A minus. Like maybe an A minus, I think is probably fair. Because, you know, it is inevitable to have some lower things. Like it's easy to say, like, if you look at another developer, like say, I don't know, FromSoft, the only thing they launched this year was Elden Ring Night Rain, right? I believe. Like if you're ranking them and there's only one thing and it was like an S tier, you could say, oh, they had an S tier year. And that's, you know, that's fair. Like, but when Nintendo does so much stuff and they're analyzing all of this, you have to, in a way, be sort of a little more lenient because it's going to be impossible for everything to be S tier. And so taking in that context and the fact that so many of the bad things here, aside from the pricing and maybe drag and drive, like so many of the things that are like actually bad are a little inconsequential, I would say an A rating for Nintendo in 2025 is probably fair. So yeah, that's where I'm landing with that. I think Nintendo's presence in 2025 deserves an A rating. So not quite an S, but it was a very good year, I think. I think the launch of the Switch 2, they had a ton of great games for it. Good presentations overall, I would say. I think there's some good presentations here. Yeah, I think an A rating for Nintendo in 2022 is fair. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna leave it at. I think that's probably a fair rating, but I'd like to see what you think. I'm sure a lot of people will have differing opinions here. So yeah, let me know what you think of Nintendo's 2025. And if you've watched all the way through, let me just thank you so much for joining me here. And if you've been here this whole year, if you've been watching my videos, thank you so much. It really does mean the world to me, and I hope to be able to continue doing this. And yeah, let's move on to 2026. Thank you very much, and have a great new year. Bye bye.